Okay, let's look at the verse now. I'm hoping that you have some rather large hands because you're going to have to do quite a big stretch here. Don't worry if you don't have big hands. You can kind of get around it. But yeah, John Mayer's got, obviously he's got quite large hands because he wrote this song and decided that he wanted to show off how big his hands are and how far you can stretch them. But see how you go, and I'll show you a way that you can maybe simplify it if you're really struggling a bit too much with this, with the chords here. But anyway, so that's the bit we're going to look at. After you go through that intro riff, the progression 4 times, then you get, when he starts singing in the verse, you get that progression, and then that goes back to this, and then you do it again. Okay, and then it goes into the chorus, which will be in the next lesson. So here, it's a G major 7 chord it starts on, but regardless of that, I'm holding down this G note with my thumb, 3rd fret on the low E string, and then my first finger is going to hold down the 2nd fret on the high E string, and then second finger is going to hold down the 3rd fret on the B string. Okay? Now the pattern is exactly the same as it was before, but the only thing that has changed is the bass note has gone down to the E. Okay? So instead of it being here, the bass note's gone down, but everything else is the same. So practice that in isolation and then learn the chords. So you've got your first chord here, then let's go to this monster. So I'm holding down the 3rd fret on the low E string, first finger still clamps that down. Then I've got my 3rd finger on the 6th fret of the G string, and then my little finger is playing the 7th fret of the high E string, but worse than that, you have to keep that B string open. Okay? Yeah, it's quite hard. He plays it with his thumb, like that, which feels a bit more unnatural to me, which is strange because I use my thumb all the time. But yeah, he goes and then stretches up like that. Okay, so that's your chord. So you do the pattern on that. Then it gets a little bit easier and you go to here. So what's happened is these two, they've both moved down 2 frets. So the 6 on the G goes down to the 4 and the 7 on the high E goes down to the 5. And you've still got that B string in there. So that's what's going on there. And then the last chord, you're still holding down this G note throughout all of these chords. It's like a G add 9 now. And you're holding down this A note, the 2nd fret on the G, and you do the pattern there. So once more, really slow, you've got then the big stretch to the next chord, and then the next one, and then you're back to the main riff. Now the only way I can make this big stretch a little bit easier for you is if you completely eliminate holding down the G here and just play, you know, open strings there. Okay, so that's just a G chord minus this D note, the C sharp note right here, okay? So it's not a G major 7 anymore, it's just a G. So that's really the only way I can do it, I'm afraid, if you want to get this verse right. So it is tricky, but really good luck with that, and let me know how you get on, because I know it's a real struggle.